Before we start the show, just a word from our sponsor, Undeniable Press. For all your screen printing needs, located in the Corktown district of Detroit, Michigan. If you ever need any t-shirts or any other little promo accessories, posters, or whatnot printed up for you, go to Undeniable Press. They're located, once again, in the Corktown district of Detroit, Michigan, and you can reach them at facebook.com/undeniablepressdetroit. And those same guys who do Undeniable Press also have a clothing line called 20 by 20 Apparel. It's very much wrestling themed, all sorts of nostalgic themes in regards to the history of wrestling. And you can go check out their clothing line at 20x20apparel.com. That's the number 20x, the number 20apparel.com. Now let's start the show.
Fresh is the word.
I'm Jim Duggan, got long wood for plenty hoes. I keep it fresher than fresh, but you already know. You suckers bummy, I'm money, I got a ton of flows. My weed loud like a motherfucking thunder roll. Your shit quiet like you ballin' on a budget though. We see your kicks and we laugh and yellin' what are those. You see me shining like a suit on puffy. You know my grindin' shit is too strong, buddy. That's why the dude call money. I be stuntin' like it's nothing at all, cause it's nothing to me. It's probably something to y'all. Trying to smoke like me, then come and fuck with your dog. Got a closet full of kicks, you can't cop it them all. And I'm fresher than the freshest, you can tell it's in my essence. Bitch, you see the way I'm rapping, yes I do this shit to death. Until I'm running out of breath, or tell somebody cut a check. But either way you know it's fresh, and either way you know it's fresh. Fresh, we fresh. Fresh, 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 goddammit, we fresh.
Welcome to the Fresh is the Word podcast, the podcast about music, pro wrestling, and MMA. I am your host, K Fresh. And like always, we have a great show for you. But before we get into that, let me just remind you how you can support the podcast. You can always go to freshasthepodcast.com and just share any links that you see on the website on any of your social media. That would definitely help us out a lot. And also, you can click on the link that says support the podcast, and there's a PayPal link you can donate to, along with a Amazon link on that page that you can use anytime you want to make any Amazon purchases. It doesn't change anything on your end, but whatever purchase you make using that link, they'll shoot back a little bit of commission our way. And also, you can follow Fresh is the Word on Twitter and Instagram at Fresh is the Word 1. That's Fresh is the Word, then the number 1. And then also on Facebook at facebook.com/freshasthepodcast. You can also subscribe or follow Fresh is the Word on a slew of platforms online like iTunes, Stitcher Radio, Mixcloud, SoundCloud, Google Play, and TuneIn. Just go to any of those websites and search Fresh is the Word, and the show will pop up. You can go ahead and subscribe, follow, whatever you need to do, and you can also leave some comments on there. 5 stars if that's applicable. Please do so. That would definitely help out the podcast. Now, onto the show. Got a great guest this week. Davey Muise, the lead singer of the metalcore band Vanna. Vanna decided that their upcoming tour is going to be their last. They're going to be disbanding. Time for time for them to go out on a high note, and that's definitely what they want to do. So me and Davey Muise get into that and see what, he explains the reasons why it's time to, put an end to the band. And then we talk about some of the other things that he's involved in. It was great talking with Davey in regards to everything, regards to, himself and with the ending of Vanna. And then afterwards, like always, I'm joined with my co-host Vstylez, and we talk about what's going on in the world of music, pro wrestling, and MMA. We get into the recent promotion, or I would say more like hiring, of Eminem's manager, Shady Records head Paul Rosenberg, to become the head of Def Jam starting in 2018. Then we also recap UFC 214, the John Jones and Daniel Cormier rematch. And then we also talk about Shinsuke Nakamura defeating John Cena on SmackDown Live this past weekend to become the opponent for the WWE World Title against Jinder Mahal at SummerSlam. So we're super excited about that. All right, before we get into all that discussion, let's first get to the interview with Davey Muise of Vanna.
Thank you for taking the time out, man. That's what it's about.
Cool. So your band Vanna, they you guys have announced that this is going to be your last tour. What's the reason behind ending the band?
Well, I think we called the tour All Good Things Must Come to an End because we're kind of moving forward from one good, really awesome thing in our lives to a couple other things. I think that, touring in a band like this, you kind of put a lot of stuff in your life on the shelf, you know what I mean? Whether it be like a career or relationships or, houses or whatever the case may be, you kind of put it on the shelf and doing the band, we loved it so much. But I think at this point, the shelf for all of us is kind of tipped over. There's so much that we put on the shelf. And I think it was just a perfect time and a perfect storm. We got back from Warped Tour and we all kind of just, talked to each other about it. And we were like, everyone's got these things that they're doing. And a couple of, kids and married and whatever, and career opportunities. And it got to the point where it seemed like future plans of the band were going to be something that was going to be very stressful. And we love music a lot. And not only do we love music, we love each other. And, I think we care about each other more on a personal level than, worrying about being professional and being in our band and stuff. So I think it was a combination of it was the right time for all of us to sort of walk away. And also, we've been on tour with bands who have kind of, dragged their band out for so long, and they fight with each other. They're getting into fights like on stage, and we never wanted to get into a point where we were dragging it out and it felt like we shouldn't be here. And our last record that we released, I think, was not only our favorite, but it was commercially our biggest success. And I think that what a better way and time to go out than kind of on top of your own career. So with all the factors and everything kind of pointing towards that we should all kind of walk away for a little while. We don't want to fight something that seems pretty natural to us. And it's been 13 years. It's been a hell of a 13 years. And I think that we've kind of, earned the right to walk away for a little bit.
Right. Yeah, that's things, as time goes on, you guys get older, have more responsibilities, more opportunities kind of come you guys' way. So it's hard to juggle all that stuff, throughout those
Absolutely.
years. Yeah, definitely. And it's always good to kind of go out on a good note, go out on top, go
Right.
out on your own terms, than be like, fuck it, one day we just hate each other and we're just gonna part ways,
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
During this time with touring this band for so long, and progressively, you've or continually, you guys have been putting out records on a regular basis every few years. Was this band and becoming harder to sustain a living from?
I think that we live in a genre, in a world where there's so many rules. And it's like, you got to release a record every 2 years. You got to tour on that record for, 8 months. And you got to only take a month to write and record the record. There's all these weird timing rules of what's supposed to happen. So you get into this routine of, like you said, releasing a record every couple of years and all this touring and stuff. And for us, it was actually getting to be easier in these years sustaining like us living there and being on tour and being able to do all these things. I think it got better for us, if anything. It's funny, we had a VIP session this past week that was like, kids were asking that where, it's getting harder and harder to tour. And I was like, our touring was getting better and better.
Right.
And our touring life was a lot easier. I just think that it came at a time where we had already done the years of touring. We'd already, put in so much time and so much work that we were kind of like, man, I wish that this came a little bit easier at a earlier time, really. And because of all the things that we're doing now, it was just making going out on the road a little bit harder. And it's funny because a lot of the reasons why we are coming off the road were all manifested because we were in Vanna. We got so many of these opportunities to work hard for, whether it be in a career or personal, personal gains, just came from the band. It's so funny. So we had to end up, ending these touring things and ending the band because of the things that the band manifested for us, which is kind of funny.
Right. And it's funny that you kind of say that it's becoming easier. I've talked with other members of other bands that are sort of in your genre, adjacent to what you guys do, and they kind of said similar things. Where their last album, they've kind of forced themselves to sort of take time out to do that record instead of because their previous efforts they were rushed into the studio. So I feel like a lot of bands are making time so that they don't have to hold those strict rules that you are talking about. Does that feel better when you're able to make it easier on yourself?
Yeah, because what we got to remember at the heart of all of this stuff is we're making art. We're making a thing that we're so passionate about and that we love. And you get into this routine, just like kind of anything else. It becomes like a job. It becomes a thing that you like have to do, and you're churning out all this stuff because there are all these like stupid rules to it. And when you can take the time to make a record, when you can step back and have the time to watch your art and your craft really be molded and really put time into it, it feels a lot better. It's weird, just like just seeing other bands and like bigger bands in the world, like Metallica. Like James Hetfield took like almost 3 years off from writing one record. Like he stepped back and reassessed his life and got his life right. Now Metallica is a huge band, a career band, but that's not to say that he didn't get his life right so that his art can become right. And so often, as cathartic and as therapeutic as making records are for us, sometimes you just need a little bit of time. Sometimes you just need to like back off from things. So it's nice at the end of our career where we can kind of like, I don't want to say do what we want, but we kind of pick and choose the things that we got to do when we weren't so desperate for things. Because when we were younger, we were so young and hungry that we just basically any tour that we got offered, we stayed on the road and we did, from like 2009 to 2014, 15, we were on the road 8 to 10 months a year. That's like not an exaggeration. And a lot of bands most bands in our genre, we're doing that.
Right.
But I think that we're in a time where we can't do that so much and we burn out. That's how you do sometimes lose bands to negativity, and do lose bands to being tired, and they end up hating what they're doing. And I just think that art takes time, and you can't really rush an amazing thing. So I think it's cool to watch some bands take some time, step back, and then come out and write a dope record. You know what I mean? That's what it's about. Like if you look at pop music and stuff, an artist will come out with a record and it'll be like 4 or 5 years before they come out with another single or something. And with us, we're on like a 18-month turnaround time.
Right.
And I don't know who made these rules in our genre, and why everyone just has to fall into place with all this kind of stuff. But it's cool to see bands taking control of their own destinies.
Yeah. In the band's history, you're actually the third lead singer. You came in around 2009, correct?
Yep.
Yeah, looking back, what's your thoughts about that time? What sticks out in your mind about, your early years with this band?
My early years in this band, I had to do a lot of proving myself. It's funny because now I've been in the band, 3 times as long as the last singer, which was, technically the original singer in the band is Nick, our guitar player. He recorded all the vocals. We had an interim guy for like a little bit who didn't even record on a record. And then Chris, who is the old singer, who's one of our best friends in the entire world.
Yeah.
And for a while it was like, you're not Chris. And I was like, yo, there's a reason when you see a band, there's a reason why those people are on stage and a reason why the other people are not there anymore. And, Chris made a conscious decision to leave. And not only did he do that, but he him and the band picked me to replace him. And I was honored to take that spot because I was always friends with Vanna. You know, I would go to Vanna shows, hang out with them. My band would tour with them. So for me to flip it and be in Vanna, you know, it was a combination of like I felt so, you know, lucky and like I got this amazing privilege. At the same time, I had to work for it because I entered the band at a time where the you know, the scene was sort of changing and how we did things changed. I had to appease old fans. I had to appease new fans. And I had to find a way to make Vanna my band. I had to find a way to make it my voice as well. And it took me a little while to step into that leadership role. It took me a little while for my writing to get honest. But my early days in Vanna were just kind of like ultimately really opening my eyes a lot more because I was in a band, I was touring, I was doing all this stuff, but it wasn't anything compared to the magnitude of things that I got to do at Vanna. And those early days were just, you know, they're scary. They were. I was pissed off because I thought I had something to prove. But it was cool because that's when I started meeting fans of the band that really helped change my life. Not only helped mold who I am, but actually helped mold really the direction that the band went into. And the reason why we are the band that we are today is because of all those early days and meeting all of those, you know, all those fans and all those kids. So it's a scary thing to like throw yourself, you know, on the front of a band,
right?
And then you're asked to represent that band. You're asked to represent the collective idea of 5 people. You're expected to win people over. You're expected to charm people. You're expected to be a good performer. You know, there's a lot of pressure when it comes down to that situation. And I think that I needed that in my life at that time. I think that stepping into that role really, really made my life step up in a sense as well.
What do you think you learned from the fans during that time?
You know, when I joined Vanna, you know, I was a messed up kid. I think, like, you know, a lot of us are. But I wanted to portray this like image of being cool, right? I wanted to be a cool guy because going to Warped Tour as a kid, and you know, growing up going to shows, like, you know, seeing my favorite bands, I'm like, man, these guys are so cool. They have everything together. Their lives are amazing. And I, you know, stepping into Vanna, that was hard for me because my life isn't, you know, all together. My life isn't, you know, cool. And I kind of put on like a little front for a little while, but in meeting all these bands that I actually were my heroes and getting to tour with them and then getting to like speak with like, you know, all these people at shows, I realized that like this isn't the place to try to look cool, and that all those bands I loved growing up, they were just messed up kids too, but they did something about it. They picked up a microphone, they picked up a guitar, and you know, the kids, as I like to call them, they really, really helped me reevaluate my life, and they also helped me, you know, realize that I wasn't alone, and all those issues that I was singing about but not actually talking about. They helped me realize that I wasn't alone and all that stuff. And I think that was the most important thing for me in my confidence in my life, is knowing that, like, you know, every time we go around to a city, you know, it grew and grew, and our crowds got bigger and bigger, and those crowds became almost armies for our band, and believing in the things that we wrote, believing in the things that we say. And, you know, that's really, really where I learned to be more of a confident person, is through all these kids and listening to their stories and realizing that, man, okay, I guess I'm not alone in the things that I suffered through in my early 20s or in high school or
right.
Whatever the case may be. And I think that is sort of like reset my barometer on how I write. And, you know, not only that, but my outreach and things that I want to do, going above and beyond just being in this band. You know, I feel like kids outside of punk rock need to hear this too. So, you know, it's definitely, I always attribute, you know, I said it on this tour, like every single day when kids would thank me at the merch table, I'm like, you don't need to thank me. Like, I need to thank you. You know, you're the ones that changed my life.
Right. Your first record with the band was the Honest Hearts EP, and then your first full length was the And They Come Bearing Bones album. You know, how long do you feel like it took for you to feel comfortable being a part of this band?
Yeah, Honest Hearts was like sort of us, you know, those songs we were jamming in our practice space, like, as I was on tour. See, I went right on tour with the band, and I was on tour for, you know, over a year before we did anything. You know, I listen to that record now, and I think about how, like, young I was in this career. And I don't think I really got comfortable until And They Came Bearing Bones. Honest Hearts is a record that I always will love and cherish, and I think it's where I kind of, started getting a little focused. And They Came Bearing Bones was a cool experience because it was my first time going away to record a record. And it was a cool experience, and I think that I really started settling into the person that I wanted to be in this band and writing. And we got to write with Matt Goldman and record with Matt Goldman, and he gave me, so much, just like priceless advice on vocals and how to write and all this other stuff that kind of, changed me so that when I could go into my next record, that's when I started being like, this is my band. I think that the record where I knew that this, this is my band was The Few and the Far Between right after And They Came Bearing Bones. I think that's when, everything was started on the trajectory and, the true nature of our band started to form for me. And also it's like, when I started, performing a little bit better and after touring for so long with these guys, you get really comfortable. And I think that record is really where that kind of like that comfortable level hit me.
The time that you came in the band was also a time when the band was transitioning from Epitaph Records to Artery. What was the outlook coming from the label Artery during that time when the band is also transitioning to a new lead singer?
I think that, I was part of that transition. I was part of that conversation. Epitaph is hands down one of the best labels in, our genre. They have put out some of my favorite records of all time, and I think that the guys were so happy about the fact that we were on Epitaph because Epitaph was such a reputable label, and they put out amazing records, and it was kind of like, oh, we're on Epitaph Records, that's cool. And then in meeting with people over there, and I don't think they really knew where to put our band. I don't think they knew where to place us, and especially with the singer change and the kind of like figuring out the direction of the band and stuff like that. I spoke up, and I think that everyone felt the same, is that I don't think Epitaph knew what to do with us, and I don't think we knew what to do with Epitaph, you know what I mean? And it came to a mutual thing from the label and band both that were like, hey, listen, like, I don't think either of us really know where to go from here. So Epitaph was amazing enough to be like, hey, you know what, you guys do what you want to do, so let us know what you want to do because that's what we care about, which is amazing. And we ended up taking the record that we recorded and the video and all that stuff, and we were able to bring it to another label. Now, at the time, we were on tour, so we probably played in front of 12, 15 labels. We had all these, labels contacting us and stuff. And, you could, as a label, you're either one of two things when a new band a band comes out with a new singer. You're either nervous and you go, nah, I don't want to touch that because, who knows what will happen. Or you're excited and saying, yes, I want to touch that because who knows what will happen, but let's make something really cool happen.
Yeah.
And of all the labels and all the people that we spoke to, Mike Milford, when he owned and ran Artery Recordings with Eric, those are the dudes that really, they got it. They got what our band was. They understood what we were trying to do and trying to say. For us, it was kind of like that was the choice to go with. That was the label that we really wanted to grow with. And I can confidently say that without Artery, we wouldn't be where we are today. They did a lot of stuff for us. They got us a lot of tours. And not only that, but the owner of Artery and our manager were best friends. So they had a very common vision in mind with what we wanted to do. So I think that the Artery grabbed us at a time where they knew we kind of didn't know what we were, and they helped us figure out who we were. And I am forever grateful to Artery, and mostly Mike Milford for helping us out with that. It's cool because Mike Milford has a Vanna tattoo. The owner of our label got a Vanna tattoo during the release of one of our records with them, which is mind-blowing. My first full length, he got a tattoo, which is like very, very cool to me. Like when your label owner gets your band tattooed on him, like you know it's good. You know what I mean?
That's awesome. The past two Vanna albums, Void and All Hell, were released on Pure Noise. You know, what's been your relationship with that label?
So, you know, being on Warped Tour, I met Jake Round, the owner of Pure Noise, in 2012 Warped Tour, and you know, we actually always, this is the weirdest thing, we always showered at the same time, like in the showers of Warped Tour, and you know, we kind of got to know each other a little bit, and I just think about the Pure Noise set all the time. And the thing I liked about Jake was he had a passion for music. He started a record label because he loved vinyl, which whenever anyone starts anything out of love and passion, that's the people that I trust, and that's the people that I can like kind of like collab with. And
right.
You know, we would just talk about all these old records and all these like bands and hardcore scene. And you know, Jake was in a band, and he just came off as like a real person and a real dude who got it, who got the scene, who understood what they were doing. And you know, he was like, when are you going to press some vinyl on your record? And I was like, you know, we don't have a vinyl option with our label. So Jake actually pressed the vinyls were few and far between, because at the time, Razor and Tie Artery, which is the label, parent label that was with Artery, they didn't press vinyl. They didn't do vinyls at all. So Jake put on our vinyl, and he did like so many colorways, and he did it so well, and the vinyl sold so much. It was so cool. So it came down to, we were really unhappy with, you know, how things were being done. Not with Artery. We were very happy with Artery. It's a parent label. You know, that we were kind of like, I don't think they get us. Again, another situation like Epitaph, where like, I don't think you get us. We don't get you. We don't know what you want. And we kind of had the option to move on. And again, there's no bad blood there. I think, again, they were a company that was like, hey, we don't really know what's going on. We don't really know what to do with you. And, you know, Artery said, you guys kind of want to, you know, figure stuff out on your own. So when it came down to that, you know, Jake was, you know, he was like, yo, when am I going to work with Vanna? When am I going to sign Vanna? When am I going to sign Vanna? And one day I was like, yo, sign Vanna. Let's do this, you know. And the relationship with us and Pure Noise has been awesome. They, again, another label that, you know, a pivotal move in our career was, you know, signing to Artery and then signing to Pure Noise. You know, I think Jake got what our band was. He still gets what our band is. He, you know, he guides us, gives us the freedom to do what we want. And I don't know if you've seen the Pure Noise roster lately, but that label is probably, in my opinion, the best label in the entire industry, as far as this, like, you know, the alt scene goes,
right,
because they have, you know, so many dope bands in every single genre. And, you know, he gets it. Pure Noise gets it. Everybody over there, they understand, you know what I mean? They get your band. Most of them have been in bands before, and they understand touring. And, you know, jumping onto Pure Noise, I think that also kind of gave us a somewhat of a, you know, legitimacy with a lot of people that maybe would have never listened to our band. You know, when we made that jump to Pure Noise and we were on samplers and stuff with all these, you know, really great bands, I think it really kind of, you know, brought our band to a different audience and a different vantage point, which is great. So I mean, again, then I'm forever grateful for Jake Brown and Pure Noise and everything that you know, he's done for our band. You know, when someone believes in your band, but they also work for your band, it's a cool combination.
Definitely. Yeah, in these past two albums, you guys also worked with Will Putney, the guitarist for an Autopsy, and he's produced for a bunch of bands, and they always have amazing things to say about him, working with him. You know, what was your experience like working with Will?
We went to Will. We want to go to Will real bad because, I mean, you know, look at all the records he's done in the past, like, you know, even like 5 years. And, you know, getting in there and working with him, you know, him, and also I want to give a credit to, you know, his engineer, Randy. Between him and Randy, you know, we were able to push ourselves to, like, really, really cool points. I like people when they're honest about stuff, and we would be jamming in the room with Will, and, like, he's like, you know, let's play these songs that you have for this record. And he would stop us and be like, nah, you know what, man, that sounds like a local band part. And, you know, and he'd walk out of the room like, figure that out. That's not a good part. And he'd walk out of the room making coffee. And, like, you could either do one of two things. You could either get pissed off and be like, this dude doesn't know our band. Or you can be like, okay, there's an outside perspective. Like, never thought about it like that. I just love the way that Will was just really honest about things. He's like, yeah, I mean, that part sucks. Why would you do that? And you're like, yeah, you're right. That part does suck. Why would I do that, you know? And then, you know, and he's really great at writing lyrics. You know, I've never, with a producer, you know, when he's like, hey, send me your lyrics. And I was like, yeah, I'll send them to you. He's like, no, send them to me before you record, you know, because he's really, really adamant about, because he knows that, like, you know, vocals and lyrics are, that's what you hear in the band. That's what you focus on a lot. And he knows how important that is. So, you know, again, another producer that I got the chance to, like, kind of, like, step it up and, like, move my career along with, you know, Vanna's career forward. He has great ideas. You know, I think that sound wise, you know, like sonically, these two records are my favorite records, and he really, you know, kind of helped us grasp what our sound is. And, you know, that kind of bled over into, like, you know, performing live and all that other stuff. And so again, another pivotal role, another pivotal man in our lives, you know, Will Putney coming in and really helping us figure out what we were trying to do, you know, because I think, you know, at that point, you know, you never want to write the same record again. And, you know, I think Will really helped us figure stuff out. Not only that, but I really think that Will helped me, you know, work through a lot of things that I was going through in my life at the time, and helped me figure out how to say it. Yeah. You know, because a lot of it was frustrating. A lot of it I didn't know how to, you know, to write down and how to say and how to sing. And, you know, Will really kind of helped me with that and brought it to the forefront. So, I mean, I don't know any band that hasn't been happy with a record that Will Putney has done with them.
Definitely. Now that, you know, you said that through the life of this band, there's been so many people that you've met, opportunities that have come up. You know, once this tour is over, you know, what's next for you?
It's funny because everyone that asks me that, I start listing these things, and I'm like, actually, I'm actually busier than I am. I'm busier now than I am, I think, in Vanna. You know, I've met all these people and all these things. I'm doing all these things. I'm a manager at the management company that manages Vanna. I'm now a manager at that company. Okay. I have my own bands that I manage, and I also help out with managing bands on our roster. So that's a cool thing. We just brought out both of my bands on this Vanna run. So it's funny because now I get more excited to watch them perform, to watch them get things, to go after and fight for tours for these guys. Like, that's what, you know, I started managing bands because I basically co-managed our band for years with our manager, Scott, who has been my mentor, you know, for the last 10 years of my life. Right. And it's cool to work side by side with him and be a peer. And, you know, I wanted to manage bands because I wanted to make a difference in, you know, not only, you know, our scene and our industry, but these bands' lives, and treat these bands how I think I would want to be treated as a band member, you know. You know, so I'm doing that. For the last 4 years, I've been public speaking at middle schools, high schools, and colleges. And I, you know, I guess it's kind of like, you know, motivational speaking, for lack of a better term, but right. I've been doing that and been able to make a career out of that. And I basically toured, as much as I toured in Vanna, I toured in that during the school year, you know, speaking at schools and, you know, sharing my life and sharing punk rock with, you know, a lot of kids that maybe would never get to go to a punk rock show. Yeah. You know, I do that. I produce bands at a studio. I get to do co-writes. And I have another band that I've been writing for a really, really long time, and, you know, working on stuff that's going to be coming out pretty soon. And I have a solo record that I'm working on, because the thing is, like, just because this band and this physical entity of my life is ending doesn't mean that I'm going to stop doing music. I can't. I could never, you know. And it's funny because everything I'm doing in my life is either in music directly or has stemmed from music. Right. So, you know, you're going to see me. I'm not going anywhere, man. I'm here. I'm a lifer here. So I hope no one's sick of my face and sick of my voice, because I'm not going to be going anywhere, man. I got some really cool opportunities coming up, some podcasts and TV shows and things that are in the works, which I'm super excited about. But I believe it all comes from just working hard in the band, you know. Because, you know, people always say you don't make any money in a band. There's no, like, you know, opportunities there, you know, and that may be true, but you need to figure out on the side of things. You know, I was having this conversation. 2017 is the year of the side grinds, you know. Yeah. Everyone's got a side grind. Everyone's got a side hustle. And I want mine to not only, you know, flourish and make me some money so I can, you know, take my wife out to eat every once in a while. But I want it to be something I'm passionate about, you know. So basically now I'm working 24 hours a day to avoid a 9 to 5. You know, I'm enjoying it. It's crazy, the things, the opportunities that I'm getting. But I really, really, really believe, without seeming and coming off like cocky in any way, I earned a lot of the stuff that I'm getting. You know, any good things that are coming to the guys in my band, they earned those things over the past 13 years of touring and grinding and really staying true to who they are. And not, you know, selling out and doing something that they don't want to do because they need to make money. And I believe that, you know, you push through and you work really hard, that good things will come to you, but you got to work for it. So you know, not only do I think that I've gotten these opportunities, I've worked for these opportunities, and I'm really proud of them, you know. I'm very proud of all the things and the accomplishments that I get to do. And man, I'm just like looking forward to the future so much. You know, I you know, came to a realization, and when we all discussed it, and we said the band was going to break up, and while me and my manager were, you know, planning this tour out, it hit me, and I you know, I went to that emotional place, and I lived in my feelings for a few months. Right. And it was, you know, it was a hard thing, and I ended up, you know, talking to some people and really trying to get a better perspective. You know, I have a bunch of, you know, men in my life who were in bands that are not in bands anymore and have gone on to do incredible things, extraordinary things, because it's like, who am I if I'm not, you know, Davey from Vanna? Who am I then, you know? And that's a question I had to ask myself, and that's something that I had to work on, because I just didn't want to be just Davey from Vanna, because eventually Vanna won't be there. And, you know, if my entire identity is based upon a band that I was in, you know, then, you know, I don't think I'm doing it right. So, you know, through some like friend counseling and, you know, kind of absorbing myself and taking all of the passions that I had for Vanna and pushing them onto other things. I think that I'm living in a really exciting time in my life right now. Like, I'm smiling talking to you about this right now because I just have a lot of cool stuff going on, and I'm really excited for where things are going.
Right. Yeah, that's awesome. And, you know, between the sort of like the motivational speaking that you're doing, and then I see that you're involved in this nonprofit organization, Hope for a Day, where they use the music and the arts for you know, for suicide and depression prevention. You know, what motivated you to get part of things like that?
You know, I never was the guy that like was a leader in school, and got straight A's and did all, you know, whatever. I started speaking because I would talk to kids at the merch table, and they would tell me their stories, and they would thank me for writing a song about, you know, depression, you know, anxiety, divorce, failure, abandonment, whatever. And they would tell me their stories of all of those things. And slowly but surely, I realized that when we share stories with each other, not only are we having a human interaction, which is awesome because that is something that is a lost art at this point in the world, but we also have the chance to kind of bounce our lives off each other and go, you know what, I guess I wasn't alone in that. You know, I guess there's other people that are going through these things. And not only are there other people going through things, but there's other people that have made it out the other side, and they're alive and they're happy and well. And if this person can do it, maybe I can do it. And I started working with Hope Today. I did a segment called Music Saved My Life, which was just, you know, I had met up with Johnny, the owner of Hope Today, and we were just kind of talking about, you know, how music saved my life, and how, you know, when I was suicidal and I was depressed, and music was the only thing that helped dig me out. And not only music, but I had to go on tour, and playing music is something that, you know, helped me be the man I am today. And, he was like, oh, we have this segment called Music Saved My Life. Would you love to do it sometime? And I was like, oh, yeah, man, that would be great. Like, let's do it. And then the next day at the Vanna show, I went downstairs to the green room in Chicago, and he had the whole, like, lights and cameras set up. And I was like, oh, we're doing this today. I was like, oh, okay. And if you watch it, I'm kind of awkward and not looking at the camera, but I got the point across of what I was trying to say. And, that video sort of went viral, and, people started saying you should share your story. And, eventually I met, again, more pivotal people, a man named Mike Smith and Joshua Schmitz, who, are speakers, and they do this professionally, and I spoke in front of them, and, they helped train me and helped, get me, going in the steps to start speaking at schools. And I own a nonprofit clothing company called Shovel Brand, which basically is we make shirts and clothing and stuff like that. And when you buy it, we're able to print more and give them to homeless high school students that are living in a teen center.
Yeah.
And part of that outreach was Mike saying, when I was speaking at schools, Mike was like, your story is amazing and these kids need to hear it, but what are you doing to continue the story of Davey Muise? What is, what's next for you, and I want you to figure out something that you could do to try to impact and change your world and change the world. And out of that came Shovel Brand, and out of that came more involvement with Hope for the Day. And I think that I realized that I never want to be a role model, and I still don't necessarily think I'm a role model, but I understand that I have a platform. And I think that anybody that has a platform kind of has a moral obligation to use that platform for something positive. There's so many agendas out there and so many things that need attention. And, I'm just trying to represent a small number of them and really get, spread the word about, mental health, spread the word about depression, anxiety, spread the word about togetherness and love and, and the stigma of homelessness. I'm just trying to do the things that I think that I changed in myself. I'm trying to help other people. It's not to make myself feel better. It's because for too many years I wasted being a negative person. For too many years I wasted in my bedroom being depressed. For too many years I didn't fulfill the person that I was supposed to be. And I now just want to spend the rest of my time here just putting out positive energy into the world. And I'm not a guy, trust me, I'm not a guy that's like, TMA all day, man. You got to be positive. Life's great. Life sucks sometimes. People suck sometimes. Right. And I'm realistic about that. But I feel like there's hope through, the common ground of that we all kind of deal with these issues and problems. And it's inspiring for me to see all the kids that I basically watched grow up over these last 13 years to come to a great place because they believed in music. They believed in themselves. And I want to spread that message of punk rock and togetherness and love to kids that aren't going to necessarily go to a punk rock show. That's sort of my goal. Every school I speak at and every organization I work with is I want to bring the values and love that punk rock brought to me to the people that will never go to a show.
When it comes to sort of mental health issues, whether you're poor with no real outlet to mental health care, all the way up to like the CEO of a major company, mental health issues are everywhere. And there's this huge spectrum where everyone has different triggers and how they deal with things and how they react to things. Given your platform, how do you sort of convey the message that, or get rid of the stigmas attached to all of this and kind of convey the message that, there is a better way out. There is things that you can work on. You can use music and the arts or whatever else to get over these things or help these things or manage these things. How do you go about sort of conveying that message?
I like to let people know through, for me, it's other people's stories too, right? So I've met all these people on the road and in my experiences that have allowed me to share their stories with people as well. Because here's the deal, like depression, anxiety, like, suicidal thoughts, what does it look like? When you really boil it down, what do you think of? What does it look like? And the real answer is nothing. Like depression, anxiety, mental health issues, it looks like it looks like a punk rock kid lost at the age 17. It looks like a 45-year-old corporate dad who has all these pressures on him to make sure that he's successful for his company and for his family. It's a divorced mom who's just trying to do right by her kids, Depression, all this stuff, it doesn't look like anything. It could be anybody at any time can be dealing with something, I've found that, people think it's poor kids because they didn't get the chance to grow up the right way. But I've found that even rich kids, they deal with these problems, and most of the time they have the money to afford themselves to do stupid things, you know what I mean?
Right.
Or their parents are around them because their parents are out grinding and making that money, It doesn't look like anything, and that's the great equalizer through all this stuff. Is you could have the coolest clothes in the world, you could be the coolest dude in the world, but you could have nothing and be a loser and not cool in your high school, and both your sets of parents are divorced, and you're going through something really, really hard. And that issue right there, you can come together and be together on that and support one another through that. That's the thing, is that all these things, they don't look like anything. I want everybody to know that at any time, anybody walking down the halls of your school, down the street, at your work, any of these people in your life could be going through something very, very hard. And I think that we really, really need to reevaluate the way that we treat people, We live in a time now where you can say hello to somebody on the street and they'll give you the middle finger because, nobody says hello anymore. No one's polite anymore. No one's nice anymore.
Right.
So my personal conquest when I go to schools and stuff is I just want people to be kind to each other, because for a lot of those schools, those hallways of those schools, that might be the only, safe space that a kid's got. That might be the only place where, this kid can go because his family hates him, or he doesn't have a family, or he's homeless, The walls of those schools are the walls of your work, or those punk rock shows. Those might be the only places that those people can even be free to be who they are, We live in a day and age where, gay kids and trans kids and kids of different races and, and different sexuality and genders are being just marginalized. And not only that, but being beat up, being told they have no part in society. And so every time I'm in a room, I try to cultivate the feeling that in this room, you are safe here. In this room, you are free here to be who you want, And I do, what I get a lot now? I get a lot of these things where the older guys or guys my age were like, when I growing up, I didn't have any safe spaces. Like I joined the army and I blah, 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 and I did this and I did that and I got through it. And I was like, and were you depressed for a lot of years and suicidal? And I'm like, well, yeah, but I made it through. And I'm like, well, how'd you make it through? Well, I used to listen to bands and I joined the military and blah, blah. I'm like, cool. Those are your safe spaces. You know what I mean? Just because we have, words, and phrases for all of these conditions and things now doesn't mean that these are new problems.
Definitely.
These are things that have been going on for the beginning of time. We just have a brand and a way to talk about them now. And, I get so upset. Back in my day, well, guess what? Back in your day, men used to beat their wives and people didn't talk about their feelings and that's not okay. I don't want to live in back in the day because that stuff clearly didn't work for anybody, How many of us have parents that were divorced because they didn't talk about anything in their marriages and their marriages went wrong? I'm from a generation where the divorce rate was at the ultimate highest. I just feel like there is no mold for sadness. There is no type for depression. There is, everybody at a certain point in their life need a little bit of help. And, sometimes just saying hello to somebody or telling them they look good today or I like your haircut or those are nice shoes,
Right.
That stuff goes a long way with people, man. And I really feel that we need to kind of, reevaluate how we interact with human beings on a real level because, man, we're awful to each other and that has to end. And I'm guilty of it. And everything I'm saying, I am not better than everybody. In fact, I was probably worse than most people out there, with the way I treated people when I treated my own life. But I've snapped out of it and I've realized stuff. And if I can help, though I believe in going through your issues and going around your issues builds character and it makes you the person that you should be. But if I can help people skirt some issues and skirt some things that they really don't have to go down that road. You don't have to go down the destructive road. If I can help stop people by sharing my experiences, and that's really the ultimate goal for me. But I want everyone to realize that it could be anybody at any time. You know, when we lose someone in a suicide, and they go, "I had no idea. They're an all-star athlete and they're straight A student. Why would this happen?" Yeah, man, everyone gets sad. Everybody feels lost. Everybody at one point in their life hits this moment where they go, should I be here? Do I have a place in this world? And I think that we all have to remember that.
Definitely, man. Sounds like you're doing some really good work out there, Davey. That's about it for the interview. If anybody wants to find out, more information about Vanna, what you're doing, or any of the organizations that you're a part of, where can they go online?
I have a website. It's just DaveyMuise.com, DaveyMuise.com, and I post all my stuff on there. And I'm a big advocate of social media. I love Instagram and Twitter. My name is just Davey Muise and all that stuff, and I try to post everything and I keep up with everyone on there. So I'm very active out there, and it's because I love staying connected to all the people I've gotten a chance, share one night with or a tour with or whatever. So, my website, my socials, you can check everything out. I'll be announcing, more music and new things that I'm doing all on there. And I think it's amazing that anyone even cares what I do, and wants to be a part of stuff with me. If you guys are interested in Shovel Brand, which is the clothing brand that I do that helps homeless high school students, it's just shovelbrand.com. I'm going to be releasing a new summer line for kids, and it's going to be good. I'm just excited about everything that's going on. So keep up with me because I'm moving super fast.
Awesome, man. It's been great talking with you, man. Good luck on everything, the tour, and everything else that you are working on after all this.
Thank you so much. Thank you for taking all the time and hanging out with me.
All right, no doubt, man. You have a good day.
You too, man.
So that was my interview with Davey Muise from the band Vanna. If you're lucky enough to be into one of the cities that are on their farewell tour, I would say go check them out, because you might, maybe never see them again as a band. Maybe they'll get together eventually, but who knows. Now for the Fresh is the Word discussion portion of the show. And like always, I'm joined with my co-host, Detroit hip-hop artist, pro wrestling, boxing, and MMA connoisseur, and proud Marine, Vstylez. What up, though?
What up, though, Kelly? You good, man?
I'm good, man. I'm all right. It's been one of those weeks where you always just feel like everything takes longer than it should, and you're like, you're just tired after everything, because it seems like everything's a struggle for no reason.
Oh, dude. Yeah. Say it, man. Say it.
Right. It's crazy. Yeah. Before we hit record, though, you mentioned, you were asking me what I thought about Paul Rosenberg. Eminem's longtime.
Wait. I know. We talking about Mr. Paul Bunyan. The Lumberjack alumni.
Yeah.
People don't understand that, but we'll get back into that for a hot second. I figured, because I didn't even think about it before we started. Dude, our boo is here.
Who?
Chris Cyborg.
Oh. Yeah.
Dude, she's at the MGM. For the Clarissa Shield fight tomorrow on Showtime.
Oh.
They was training together.
Oh yeah.
So,
yeah. She came to town for that. Okay. Oh yeah. I just did see.
Yeah.
All right.
Dude, somehow, some way, I'm gonna need you to put your guru skills together, and me and you go have to take a picture with Chris, man. We got to do that, man. She's here right now, man, and we love her, man. We've been rocking with her before anybody.
Right. I don't know. Oh man, shoot. I'm going out of town tomorrow. So, crap.
I hate you, dude.
See, I keep on going out.
I
keep on going out of town, man. So, but oh yeah, big ups to Cyborg, finally with featherweight title, UFC, and
and new.
Yeah, finally got it. Big ups to Clarissa Shield. She'll probably let's see if she gets another belt around her waist. Coming up tomorrow.
You know what though? Just to speak on that for a minute, and this is no hate at all. Like Clarissa Shields is great in my opinion. You know her skills. You can't front like what you see, but you know it's her fourth fight. She's fighting for a world title. It's really hard to, gauge her as far as how good she is when she don't have no competition. It's almost
right.
It's almost similar to when Ronda Rousey came into mixed martial arts. People may, box, but there's not a lot of Clarissa Shields, man. So for her to even get a title shot and with minimal fights like this, it just said something about how her skills are respected, man. So I expect her to go out there and do damage, man. Salute to her, Flint, Michigan, all that.
Word. Hell yeah. All right, getting back to like what we were originally I was gonna bring up was with regards to Paul Rosenberg. He just named the head of Def Jam. I guess he's gonna start his duties starting in 2018. What do you feel about that? Because these days, like I don't know what these roles like play in regards to the music industry when someone becomes a head of like a label like Def Jam, who used to be they used to be a prominent label, and then it merged with Island and got bought out and just became another part of the machine. So what's your thoughts about this?
Well, they filling in the position that was it was been vacated for a minute. If you put somebody in control of just the brand, Def Jam is not necessarily a label; it's a brand now. Just like you said. We know Universal, but people, when you talk about hip hop and other things related within the culture, Def Jam is like everything. And some people still feel like that. What Paul brings to the table is, success.
Yeah.
He's won. His formula wins. So I'm more curious to see what happens with Shady Records. I'm curious to see what artist, if any, goes over to Def Jam. I'm curious to see what he does. I'm just curious to see, man. Like I said before, I used to buy this dude drinks. Like he's part of this group called the Lumberjacks, and I used to get him beers all the time, man. And to go back to that and to dude didn't even really need this. He's already successful what he was doing with Shady and him and M and everything else that they've done. The name is synonymous. When you talk about hip hop music, man, who don't know Paul Rosenberg? Paul Bunyan. To us that been around and we're dinosaurs and we know, like, that's why I smile. I've seen some comments and a couple people hate, but I asked them, what have they done? What have they, like,
right?
Say what you're gonna say, man. That dude, he was a part of our culture, and that shit is real. So if you hating on it, man, look in the mirror and think about what you've done with your life and keep it moving. But yeah, salute to him. But to answer your question is, I don't know
right
what it is that he could do, but he's a prominent name, and it does give it hope to anything, because people that don't understand the business but know that logo, it means a lot to him. So if Paul can bring some, some realness to it, and he's a proven dude. Who knows? I just want to see what the artist shakeup will be like over there, if any.
Right.
But salute to him. Yeah, man, new beginnings, man. I feel like one of us won, straight up, because he's from here.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, man. It's good luck, Paul Rosenberg. I'll be like, I'm just excited to see what sort of, if there's any sort of shake up, any freshness that can bring to the Def Jam label. That'd be cool to see.
It's dope. I remember when I dropped Clash of the Titans.
Yeah.
Then I dropped the video, and out the blue, he retweeted it, and he said, "It's always good to see old friends still working." Fucked me up. I was like, "Damn, this is Paul fucking."
Nice.
Paul fucking Rose, and only the people that know is gonna understand that. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, wow, I can't believe he it was like good to see old friends still working. And at the time, Royce's situation was different. He wasn't at Shady, so I still wonder. I know he remember.
Yeah.
Was he talking to me? Was he talking to us? Was he talking to all? I think he was talking to all of us. Just how I said, wow, that's dope, because everybody that was on that record, with the exception of Big Pooh, come from where he come from.
Yeah.
And we all were around at the same time, honing our skills, man. So yeah, that shit meant a lot to me, man. I said, motherfucking Paul Rosenberg. That's like top 3 tweet for me. That shit. That Jake, straight up, man. That Jake the Snake Roberts, but that one, it held. I was like, are you kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? Yeah. Yeah.
Nice. All right, so switching topics, biggest event and kind of what we talk about this past weekend was UFC 214. A lot of stuff happened. A lot of fallout came out of it. A lot of discussions. A lot of shit talking. A lot of stuff going on. But first off, let's talk about the Detroit boy that was a part of UFC 214 on the early prelims. The Monkey God.
Oh, you talking about the Monkey God, baby? The Monkey God, yeah.
Jared Brooks.
He pulled out. It was a split decision.
Yes.
But he won his debut. I thought he did enough to win the fight. I think, with it being, his first fight in UFC, and with it being highly anticipated, I think he did all right, man. It only gets better from here, man. Like you said, man, you just seeing the beginning. So, yeah, salute to that dude, man.
Right.
I rocks with him.
Yeah, and I love
his. With me on Facebook.
Yeah.
We got mutual friends. He gets trained by James Lee.
Yeah.
Over at Mass Gym, and Coach Kara Rowe. She's a boxing coach and former world champion in boxing, man. So he got a solid team, around him. Salute to them.
Yeah.
Congrats on the win.
Oh yeah, definitely. I love the nickname. I like his personality, his charisma. He has he reminds me of someone from around here, So
he believes, dude. He believes in himself, and every interaction I've had with him, on Facebook has always been super cool. Yeah, I haven't met him yet, but I'm pretty sure I will, because like I said, I'm real cool with James. And it's just a matter of time for, matter of fact, we need to do that together. When I get that call, if you're free, we gonna go together, man. We got to start doing some shit together, Kelly.
Oh, yeah.
Damn it.
Yeah, right. All right, definitely. We do, man, we do. You always working. I got weird schedules, whatever. We'll figure it out.
Yeah. Okay. We'll get it to rocking. But, yeah, man, I'm happy for that dude, man. And, I think it's only up from here. You know, you get better according to the competition that you're in there with. And I already like his skill set, man. And Styles make fights, man. But I'm really interested in. I want to talk about this Woodley matchup, man. Whenever you're ready.
Well, we can go there next, man. Woodley gets the unanimous decision over Damian Maia. A lot of people talking shit about this fight, about it being boring. Me personally, I was enthralled by it because I knew going in, like we always talk about with Damian Maia, if he can grab a hold of you, he's gonna be like a succubi and not let you go, and it's gonna be tough to not get submitted by this dude. And I'm sitting here watching Tyron Woodley just thwart every takedown attempt, 21 in all, through the whole fight. I was like mesmerized that shit was happening. Was it an exciting fight? Not necessarily, but I was still mesmerized that, like, yo, this dude is breaking down this dude's offense that he's picked apart so many other fighters with, and he is just shutting them down. And I'm just waiting for Damian Maia to actually get a successful takedown, and it never happened. So that shit was crazy to me, but other people didn't like it.
Okay, Kelly, let me say this first off, and this is me speaking to you, because I remember when you first started, getting it back into MMA and, starting to vibe to it and stuff. The comment you just made is the exact same shit that makes me love mixed martial arts. Styles make fights.
Right.
I don't look for. I'm not the big knockout guy. In fact, in all fighting, whether it's boxing or mixed martial arts, man, I care more about the skill set, and I like the setups, and I like the other shit that leads to certain outcomes. You are night and day to where you used to be, man. And dude, look, I'm more impressed by what you just fucking said than anything, because I don't have to say nothing. You've already said what I would have said.
Well, see,
and
like that's
real,
why,
man. Salute. And that makes you look, and that makes you like you're a fan. You're going to be a fan, but when you can look at it from an unbiased opinion and call it as you see it,
right?
Most people don't know how to call it, so to them it might be boring, but to me and you, we looking at it like, damn, I can't believe he's fucking, like, every fucking takedown, he's fucking sprawling, he's defending it, he's doing everything. Like, to me, it was a fucking art.
Yeah, it was.
I appreciate that shit, man. So, when I see people out here bashing Tyron Woodley, it's like, do you even fucking understand what you see? Like, when Dana White came out and said all that whole ass shit, and I ain't no big Dana. I just want Dana to be fair. You know, that's all you want when it comes to these type motherfuckers. Be fair. And I felt it was like, dog, how the fuck you gonna smash this dude talking about this the most unexciting fight, and okay, yeah, it broke the record for it. Like, it's like you threw that dude up under the bus. Right. Damian Maia came in on a 5, 6, 7 win streak or some shit like that, grabbing motherfuckers and damn near choking them the fuck out, suffocating them the whole fight. And this dude, every fucking attempt, squashed it. And then what make it even worse, you bash the dude, and then it come back to MRI, says he has a torn shoulder, something going on with his shoulder, which explains why he couldn't explode in certain ways.
Yeah.
So and he's out for 6 months, and they about to have an interim welterweight title fight with Robbie Lawler and Masvidal. So, I felt Tyron Woodley had a point. I didn't understand why Dana would do that. It's like, wow, dude, that's some hoe ass shit. Then you had the little other dude, Colby, what's his name, Colby Covington. He come out Talking about, don't worry about it, boss. You know,
he was sucking up so bad.
Dog, man. You know what it remind me of, dude? I'm gonna tell you what it remind me of, man. Hey, this next comment is not for the soft, the weak, the meek. You know, this next comment is some hardcore shit. But if you ever watch Menace to Society, when my man had the cheeseburger, he was like, I suck your dick.
Oh my! That's what basically. Man, he was sucking up so hard, man.
Look, dog. That's what it was. Dana, I suck your dick. That's what it sounded like to me. Just like, dog, are you really fucking kidding me, dude? Wow, dude, that's some wild shit that you just did right there, man. That's some hard. Like, what real man? Then to come out. I'm just trying to get my name out there, man. What type of dick sucking dude is you? Like, what type of morals?
Right.
People, if y'all out there listening, men especially, learn from that shit right there. That's some of the whack. That's top 3 whack shit I've seen all year. I got something dirty on him, boss.
Man, he's
Later
about
on his career, boss.
Dude, that's some like. You're gonna just snitch on somebody just in public, man. Like, not even be low key about.
Where did he come from?
Right. Dude, that was so.
It was done like so reckless. Like, damn, who was this? Like, I heard this too. Who the fuck is this guy? I heard that shit. You know, like, who the fuck are you? Like. Oh, no, dog. Really? Oh, man. Come on, son. Come on.
Right.
Yeah, man. That was pretty effing bad, man. Pretty effing bad. Yeah, but I looked at Teron Woodley's, title defense as a success. And, the people that complain about it are the people that don't understand what it is that they watching. All they want to see is some knockouts and shit like that. So, salute to y'all. I get it.
Yeah.
But some of us love the art, and I'm a guy that loves the art. I love the setup. I love
and speaking about that, if you actually look at the 3 title fights from 214, everybody who won those fights had like this air of patience in regards to their fights. Like nobody actually went out and started, throwing Hail Marys or anything. Cyborg could have probably went out and, started throwing some Hail Marys towards Tanya Evinger, but no, she knew how important this fight was, so she broke it down effectively. And
she picked her shots.
Yeah,
what she was supposed to do.
Yeah, she could have went out there and started throwing bombs at her, but she didn't. And Tanya Evinger even rolled with a lot of the punches that she was able to land. She was really tough in that fight. But there was this air of setup and caution, and actually, like you're saying, like the art of it all that was going on in these fights, and that's what I enjoyed about them all.
Yeah, I wasn't mad at Teron Woodley's performance. I thought it was a masterful performance. Motherfuckers want him to go out there and tie up with motherfucking Damian Maia. You do that shit and find out what happened to you in real life. And that's what's upsetting to me when, you make a comment and it's like, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, man. We watched Damian Maia smash people. You can't look good against Damian fucking Maia. Anderson Silva, arguably the greatest of all time, didn't look good against Damian Maia. You're not going to look good against Masvidal, who's a monster on his hand, with his hands. I've been watching him since Strikeforce. Didn't look good against Damian Maia. So you have to, I think Woodley did what he was supposed to do. George St. Pierre did that type shit. Motherfuckers didn't say nothing.
Of course. Shit.
But I'll say this about Teron Woodley. He did everything right after the fight. Came defended himself against Dana White after the fight. I felt him on that.
Yeah.
But the one thing I didn't feel is when they said, "Who's next?" He said, "You think Robbie Lawler's next?" And he said, "What has Robbie Lawler done other than calling the ball like Ronda Rousey?" I thought that was some kind of hoe ass shit to say. Reason being, the dude that he smashed twice and went to war with smashed you like it was nothing. In the wars, you know, it doesn't matter what anybody says. When you have wars, 25 minutes can take a whole lot of your soul when you're in war than not being in war. So that dude had 2 wars with that guy, Rory McDonald.
Yeah.
Won both of them fights, and I think Teron caught him at the right time. It happens.
Yeah.
But to say he's crawled up and, you know, like Ronda Rousey, you know, within the last year is totally disrespectful. He needed a break. You know, why not? I like Robbie, man. They used to be teammates, man, but I just thought that was like some super lame ass shit to say. But other than that, you know, I respect Teron as a champion. It's obvious UFC don't want him as a champion because he's not, you know, at least in their eyes, marketable. Dana White constantly puts his foot in the mouth, then wants to apologize and do all this other whole shit. Yeah, man, it is what it is, man. It is what it is.
Right, man. Right. Yeah. The big fight of the night, the fight that everybody was been waiting for was the rematch between John Jones and Daniel Cormier. Like, you know what? This is like, as everything played out this past weekend with that fight, you know, you really realized how much like emotion was in this fight, because you had both these fighters. You had John Jones, who you know, trying to look for some sort of redemption in people's eyes, and then you have Daniel Cormier, who's like trying to get this monkey off his back. The only person who he hasn't beaten is John Jones, and so somebody's gonna come out happy and somebody's gonna come out sad in this fight more than any other fight, and it was a close fight, those first 2 rounds, but then, as you said, man, you know, Daniel Cormier got caught, and
there's no shame in getting caught, and this is the whole thing, man. DC, for all intents and purposes, man, like, Jones was kind of getting frustrated. You know, he was on his heels the whole fight, you know, meaning he was backing up the whole fight. You know, DC was bringing it to him. You know, one judge had Jones up 2-0, and the other 2 judges had it 19-19, you know, 1-1. So DC was in the fight. It wasn't like he wasn't in the fight. And I still think his momentum, you know, he was happy where the direction it was going. And then he got caught with that left kick, man. And, you know, that shit happens, man. I don't think dude got nothing to be ashamed about, man. That guy went from not knowing what he was going to do after wrestling, you know, collegially and being an Olympian, to not knowing where, you know, what he was going to do next. MMA, in my opinion, saved his life. And, you know, his achievements as far as being a undersized heavyweight, first time I ever seen him was when he beat Bigfoot in Cincinnati, Ohio. Same card Mo was fighting Roger Gracie on, man. I can remember being backstage and people walking around and nobody knew who the fuck DC was. They knew who he was after that fight, because he had knocked out Silver. But the man was humble, super humble, man. And to know where he come from and to see him now, he's won. And he ain't got no reason to hold his head down, man. The dude collected $1 million. That's just his regular payout, man. We ain't talking about pay-per-view, so you can't even how do you front on that? Dude beat all the number one contenders. He had wars with Gustafsson. He beat Rumble Johnson twice. He's done his job. John Jones is just a better fighter. There's nothing you can say bad about John Jones, his performance, man. And he's said and done all the right things. He said and done all the right things, recently. And, I think we should give a young man a chance to, keep bettering himself, man. Ultimately, that's what it's all about, man. We sit and throw stones, man, but all of us have fucked up,
right.
once upon, in our life, no matter what level it is. So, salute to John Jones, man, for getting back what was his, and salute him for giving it up to DC and being a real G about it, man. And that's what it's all about. That's what you want. You just want to see growth and maturity. And when you're talking about martial arts, you want to see honor.
Right.
And I think they represent that well.
Right. That was a hell of a post-fight interview that John Jones did in the cage afterwards. It was really heartfelt and it was very
super classy.
It's super classy, man. It made the whole fight and everything, the whole story, just even more emotional. I was like, oh shit, even I was getting in my feelings about that. I was like, oh dude, all right. But and then also he calls out Brock Lesnar regards to this, and this is definitely a thing that I could see happening eventually, because that will be big pay-per-view buys, and I know the UFC will try to nudge that as much as they can because they know the star power in that fight.
Well, it's good to see that John Jones is back, and he is ruler of the light heavyweight division once again. I can't wait to see him against Alexander Gustafsson again.
Yes.
I
hope
think
that
that's
happens.
Going to be an epic rematch. John Jones, and I'm going to say it now, John Jones is UFC star. Not Conor McGregor. I think Conor McGregor brings a certain type of crowd to mixed martial arts, man. He knows how to sell himself real well. But, I know Joe Duffy beat him. I know Nate Diaz choked him out. Ain't nobody beat John Jones.
Right.
Nobody. This is probably John Jones, in my opinion, his most impressive victory, against DC, because that left kick came out of nowhere.
Right.
Man,
Right.
It came out of fucking nowhere. So, and the funny thing is, if you look at the footage, DC was used to getting kicked in the body, so it was like he thought the kick was coming to the body. He covered up on the body and then went to his fucking head. And, it's like, wow. But I honestly think John Jones can beat Brock Lesnar. The thing is, Brock Lesnar has to get his hands on John Jones, similar to, I mean, it could happen.
Yeah.
I think Brock is a freak, but I think John Jones striking and his unorthodox striking would, I think he just would, oh man, it would be bad, man. It'd be bad for Brock. Brock might cry and retire again. You know.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm a Brock Lesnar fan, but I just think, you know, unless he could just hold him for 5 rounds, I don't see, you know, like what are you gonna? I just don't see. And what it brings is star power. Brock Lesnar. It's the best of both worlds. You got UFC people, you got pro wrestler fans just go tune in to, you know, the event because they Brock Lesnar fans.
Yeah.
So, you know, everybody's going to win, but John Jones is really going to win. So, if Brock was the, you know, that would be one of the biggest upsets of all time, in my opinion. I don't care how much weight advantage Brock Lesnar has on John Jones. I just don't see him being able to hold on to him. I think he gasses. I think a lot of things, and it ain't good. I could see John Jones kicking at them legs. Brock don't have the biggest legs. I could see John Jones just chipping at them legs.
Right. Yeah, them legs are not the biggest. Yeah, he don't have the biggest legs for what his size is.
Yeah,
and stuff,
man.
So you could chop at those legs.
Shit. I see that shit something real bad, man. And, you know, yeah, I don't think it would be good for you know, good old Brock there. But, you know, it is what it is.
Yeah, and if this happens, it's not going to happen anytime soon because Brock Lesnar officially retired, so he still has suspension time that he would have to fulfill, and then also get back in the USADA pool. So this fight wouldn't even happen until sometime in 2018 anyways.
Well, the big thing about that is, you know, anytime you see the WWE storyline, and the storyline is if Brock Lesnar loses his title, he leaves the WWE.
Yeah, that too.
And that kind of lets you know that he's about to drop his title at SummerSlam, and let's just really hope that it's not to fucking Roman Reigns and it's to Samoa Joe.
Right. Yeah, as soon as I saw that, I'm like, oh, okay, then this return to the UFC might be real if he's gonna.
They wouldn't even be promoting it like that if it wasn't.
Yeah, then it might be real if you're gonna go that way, because it's like before we thought that the whole Brock Lesnar thing might go all the way to WrestleMania. But the way it's looking now, it might just only go to SummerSlam. So we'll see, But that would be a big fight for UFC if it was John Jones versus Brock Lesnar, and I know.
Oh, it's going to happen. Yeah. There is no question that fight is going to happen, man. When it happens is another thing, and hey,
yeah.
This lets you know how much disarray that the UFC is having or got going on right now. And I say that because they don't have no star power. If you pay attention, well, I ain't going to say, I know you pay attention, but we were seeing for a long time that this was the setup. So people were shocked when, he called him out, but that was reported 3 weeks to the fight. He's going to do this, and this happened. He's going to do this, and that. We knew what was going to happen. We knew he was going to call him out. So, for him to just call him out instead of calling Alexander Gustafsson out, it's like, wow, okay, fuck all that. It's straight to Brock.
straight to the money fight. Because he even also said that
Yeah.
he wasn't interested in going against Stipe for the heavyweight belts at all. He said that there's no interest in me. He wanted the money fight.
Because nobody knows him.
Yeah.
And that's a money grab all day.
Yeah, definitely.
Money grab all day, man. So I ain't mad at John Jones for that, man. Get your money, man. You got a small window to make your bread, do it. Whatever the biggest fight is going to get you some paper. And that lets you know that this is what the new UFC is going to be. It ain't going to be about who's the number one contender. It's going to be about what fights can make us the most money. And the Vstylez brothers were super genius to get rid of UFC when it was time, to get rid of it. I see pay-per-views not doing so great for UFC in the near future. And I also see Bellator catching up to UFC real soon because Scott Coker, although he makes nostalgia matchups, he also builds stars. As you see, all the stars that's over at UFC were his fighters. So, it is what it is. But we're in the new day now. And get your money, John Jones. I'm a Brock fan, but I just don't see how Brock can win this fight.
Right. Turning to the world of the WWE, this past Tuesday, my boy Shinsuke Nakamura beat John Cena and will be facing the modern-day Maharaja at SummerSlam.
You silly.
The modern-day Maharaja.
Maharaja! The modern day. Be serious with that shit. Like, okay, dog.
But yeah, it'll be Nakamura versus Jinder Mahal at SummerSlam for the WWE title, and I will be super happy if Nakamura ends up the winner. And the thing is, okay, this is the thing, and I this is when I like SmackDown's continuity. They've been doing this whole Nakamura and Baron Corbin thing for a while, and it'll make sense that if Nakamura wins the belt and Baron Corbin is the Money in the Bank, briefcase holder, that he'll go after Shinsuke Nakamura, and it would make more sense than before. It'll have layers of a storyline. Whatever you think about Baron Corbin or not, at least the story behind it sort of makes a little bit more sense, and something that's already been built.
I like Baron Corbin. It's obvious that, he's the future and he's going to be a champion. But right now, Shinsuke is in the driver's seat, just on the recent reports that the WWE has not really gained financially, as far as Jinder Mahal being champion over in his native country. So with stocks being down, it makes sense to put the strap on one of your most popular wrestlers, and that's what, Shinsuke Nakamura is. He's look, I don't know if anybody else is watching that match with him and John Cena, but when he did that, was that inverted suplex? But when John Cena came down on his fucking neck, oh my God, that shit looked so.
Ooh,
that shit looked horrible.
That looked ugly, man. Oh, that was when Super Cena kicked into gear and he just pops back up, but it still looked ugly. And afterwards, in the ring, Shinsuke apologized for that.
Yeah, man.
But I mean,
I
like,
don't think it was. I don't think it was botched on his end. I just don't think Cena exploded enough, man.
right.
And you know, he came. I was like, "Ooh, man, he is fucking super lucky he didn't break his fucking neck."
Like that's some shit
And
that you'd see like in Japan, like Shinsuke would do to someone in Japan, and they're like used to that shit and they know how to roll with it, you know. Uh,
yeah,
but I don't think John Cena
John
was
got a lot
used
of
to.
muscle mass.
Yeah, so he was able to take it, but I don't think most other people wouldn't have been so lucky, man. They might have hurt themselves on that move, but yeah.
I was like, oh, that's all I can say is,
But yeah, I mean, but he was fine because like after SmackDown went off the air and 205 Live started, Baron Corbin actually came out and attacked Shinsuke Nakamura, and then John Cena put Baron Corbin through the announce table, so he was able to bounce back. But yeah, that shit looked ugly, man. It was like.
yeah.
Oh.
And you could tell when it's bothering motherfucker, man. You could see that. I could see that was clearly bothering John Cena.
Yeah, that shit was crazy. But no, I'm glad that Shinsuke Nakamura gets this attempt to become the champion, and there's been a lot of people who knew about Shinsuke before. They a lot of people haven't been completely satisfied with his run in WWE yet. But to me, I'm patient with it because it's a new thing for him. He's on the other side of the planet, He's away from everybody who he's regularly around. He moved out to the States. This is all new for him. So there's still in comparison to other people, there's still sort of a feeling out period. And because this was something Jim Ross was on Stone Cold's podcast, and the topic of Shinsuke Nakamura came out, and he's like, I like this guy. He's like, but I don't think we've seen the best from him yet. I think he's holding back still. He's like, I'm not sure what it's about. Whether it's the new surroundings or whatever, or if feels like the wrestlers here can't take the style that he's normal to. He's like used to the strong style. But he's like, he's like, that's the one thing he needs to figure out right now is that one little thing that's missing right now in the WWE when it comes to his performances. And I actually do agree with Jim Ross on that. There is something a little bit missing with Shinsuke yet, and I think he's just holding back. He's like,
yeah, I can agree with that.
But I feel like he'll find it. He's starting to find those things. And it with Shinsuke, he has that larger than life personality, and when he does those little things, those little comedic things, like people love it. Like when he's doing all that shit to John Cena about seeing him, like the glasses and stuff like that. Like that shit was like hilarious. That shit was perfect. Anytime he pokes fun, like anytime the way Shinsuke Nakamura pokes fun at people, it's actually very endearing, and people just really love it, and the fans will really get behind it. So I feel like he's starting to find his edge, and now that they're putting him in this position to possibly be the world champion, and that I feel like that will be a change for him. They'll turn a corner for his output in the WWE.
I totally agree. Shout out to John Cena for being a true professional as far as not being afraid to put the newer guys over.
Yeah,
that's super important when you're talking about wrestlers and them having egos and not wanting to lose and stuff like that, man. John Cena is the ultimate, professional when it comes to doing stuff like that. And it's a great match, man. And I foresee the WWE putting the strap on him at SummerSlam, and Baron Corbin, using that Money in the Bank briefcase to upend him, whether it be at SummerSlam or the next day or the next 2 days on SmackDown. Is to be seen, but that's what's going to happen in my opinion. And hey, let's see where we go from here, because I think ultimately what it's going to lead to is WrestleMania. Like I've been saying from the beginning, early reports, is Nakamura and AJ Styles.
Dude,
probably
yes, and
world champion versus U.S. champion.
Yeah, dude, we could really soon be in a world where both Shinsuke Nakamura and AJ Styles are champions in the WWE. Like, what a time to be alive, you know?
I will, what's cool is me and you already see it. So that's what makes it dope. I just want to see what colors of paint they go use in the drawing to get to that point.
I'm totally all for that. I can't wait till we get that bout. They teased it during that ladder match, and people are into it. People are into it. Everybody wants to see a real deal AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura fight in the WWE. High stakes, high prize. We just want to see it. And I'm patient.
We want to see it.
I'm patient. I'll wait for it. I'll wait for it. Definitely.
Indeed.
Cool. All right, man. That's about it for this week's podcast. Vstylez, where can they find you online?
You can find me online at the / on Twitter, Facebook at / VSTYLEZ, and on Instagram / VSTYLEZ. And you can find me on my official verified page on Facebook at official common spelling Vstylez, VSTYLEZ. All one word together, official Vstylez.
Word up. Thanks for listening. Goodbye and good night.
Peace.
Fresh is the word.